53 DP and 2023-04 DP. These are two buildings to be constructed out on lots 10 and 11 of Creekside Corporate Park. Building 1, which would be on lot number 10, is approximately 104,500 square feet. Building number 2 to be constructed on lot number 11 is approximately 25,600 plus or minus square feet. The both development plan petitions received conditional approval from the Plan Commission at the February 21st meeting. One of the conditions to that approval was for the building elevations to be reviewed by this subcommittee and approved. So that is what brings us here today. That is a brief summary of where we've been and how we've arrived here. So, Mr. Lake, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure. First, I'd like to thank the petitioner for the effort that they're putting in working with us on this. You know, this is a great project for Zionsville. We appreciate that Graham and his companies want to locate here. So thank you for your time and effort in meeting with us. You know, I guess I can start with a few comments. Appreciate in particular the work on what I'll call building 2, which is not the Ducati dealership. I don't know that I really have much comment. I think the materiality changes are very welcome, as well as the overall aesthetic of the building. And I'm speaking for myself, not my peers here. So I'll let them speak for themselves. The only comment I had really on that building was the signage changes. I feel like I like the bigger logos. The kind of little strip of signage across the top wasn't as visually appealing to me, but that's kind of neither here nor there. That's just a comment for whatever it's worth. I do think the form of the building, the way the facade was broken down and the material changes were really what we asked you to focus on, and you did that. And at least from my perspective, I was pleased with the way that turned out. Since I've led with building 2, and any comments from you guys on building 2?
I feel the same way. I think they did a great job. I was able to, I think we had a question about what the material is on this brown. I thought I read somewhere over the weekend that it was some kind of a metal. Yeah, you gotta get up there.
And if you could please introduce yourself.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. I'm Dan Moriarty from Studio M. Yeah, the just at the entrance there's kind of a wall of Corten steel colored metal panel.
Okay.
That kind of extends through the area, the bar and grill area of the museum, Ray Hall Museum.
Okay.
And same thing. I just had a question on why. I mean, it's a pretty significant change on the signage.
You know, we kind of like the other one too, but this is dictated by the dealerships, and they have a particular branding signage, but they picked up on that right away and said, no, that's not how we do it. We do it this way.
That's fair. I've been there. Jim?
Looks great.
Hey, there you go. We got Jim's blessing. The building 1, there were less changes to. It looks like primarily just the color change of the canopy and the Ducati logo. I personally still have concerns with the shape, kind of style of the columns and how long that's going to look kind of good and be, I don't know, popular. I feel like that was something that, was tried a lot in the 90s to do structural forms that are representative of something that's happening inside, but the minute it doesn't happen inside or after 5 years go by, it just kind of loses its appeal. And I mentioned that last time. And I still feel like that top, it doesn't look as heavy in the renderings. It almost looks thicker, where the Ducati is, that eyebrow, if you will, that overhang. It looks thicker in the drawing, height-wise, than it does in the rendering. The rendering looks better to me. It still feels heavy over top of the glass. It feels like the glass is trying to carry this inordinate load above it. But it does look better, a little bit better in the rendering than it does. And I think actually the rendering and the drawing don't line up, because when you look at the white in the rendering next to the black that continues on, it's noticeably shorter in rendering, and it's the exact same size in the Ducati drawing. And maybe that's because of the projection that's happening. I'm not quite sure, but one of our comments, or my comments, was to thin that up so it didn't feel so heavy, and doesn't look like we had much movement on that. So those were really my two comments. The rest of the building I was generally fine with.
If I can maybe help clarify, we did take, I think, 1'8" or 2 feet out of the depth of the canopy over the dealership as suggested at the last meeting. And I think we changed the color. It was red, I think, at the time. And
it looks like it there.
yeah, the
But
elevation.
It didn't look like it on the elevation.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I've
Because
got
the
it.
two are the black and the white are the same thickness
Right.
on the elevation.
And
So if the rendering's correct, it's better, in my opinion. If the drawing is correct,
I think
it doesn't look like we have much movement.
I think the rendering is correct.
Okay.
And I guess I'm not exactly sure what happened on the elevation, because we have talked about that. It used to go straight across, and that the front and the black, used to be lined
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And we dropped it down and then set another wall back. But
Yeah.
you're not picking that line up on the elevation right there.
Okay.
So you're right, that needs to be fixed.
Okay.
As far as a motorcycle frame, the frames are a representation of the Ducati frame. Again, a dealership and branding thing that
Is that
one of
a
the
requirement?
challenges, well, it's not a requirement, but one of the challenges we're trying to circle around is we've got Ducati in Italy that has an opinion. We've got, of course, Graham and his family, and we've got the commission, trying to balance the three. Ducati has signed off and loves the frames and loves the logo. They like the colors now. They've approved the way it's sitting now. It's just, how to explain to them that, how to take it. Well, the commission doesn't like the columns, so you need to take them
Are
out.
they
I don't know. Is that
decorative or are they functional?
no, they're decorative.
They're decorative.
Yeah.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
could,
They can be
easily
taken
be
off in the
removed
future.
later and-
That's right. They could.
that
Yeah.
makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I don't think Graham's business is going to be successful and he isn't going to
Right.
be there for, the rest of my lifetime, but
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay.
They are removable.
Okay.
So.
other thoughts that you guys have?
Well, I know at our commission meeting, there had been some expression about that, but especially knowing that they are decorative and not structural, I see no reason to hold them up anymore.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I agree.
Any other thoughts that you guys have though, outside of my two comments?
No,
My favorite kind of meeting.
I think it looks pretty darn
So,
good.
do we need to officially vote on this?
I think that you need to at least verbalize that.
Okay.
As the group, and a vote probably would be best
Okay,
to either approve or deny what's been presented.
okay, great. So, I guess what I would do then is make a motion to approve. I'll do them both one at a time. Building 1, which is the primary building in Ducati dealership, noting that the elevation drawing A200 is off from the rendering. The rendering shows a skinnier eyebrow where the Ducati sign is, and that is our expectation that it matched the rendering as opposed to A200, and that we approve the design of that building. So, all in favor, I guess.
Aye.
Okay. Building 2, which is the secondary building containing the restaurant. I would move that we approve that building as currently designed. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
gentlemen, thank you for your time. That concludes our meeting. We can adjourn.
Thank you.
Yep.